Hello, hi, I'm Dr. Philip McMillan, and I'm here to share with you some ideas about science and about what's happening in the world. And I'm trying to see if I can relate science to current situations and hopefully explain concepts around what I see in research and how the beauty of how the body works can reflect our whole world as a body. So, this is both an explanation of science and a reflection on the seriousness of the situation we have facing us between Israel and Palestine. My role is not to talk about that. I've just got here all of the news. Up to 700 Israelis dead. This is just about an hour ago. Could be up to 800. Israel is targeting the Gaza Strip. This is an extremely serious escalation that is relevant to every one of us across the world. So, how does this tie in to COVID 19? It's very important to understand that the COVID 19 cytokine storm, based on our research, is primarily about autoimmunity. And just to simplify it, and just to be clear, not all the scientific community agrees that autoimmunity is the primary mechanism. They say that it can occur in the disease, but they're not sure if it's necessarily the primary pathophysiology. That has been my argument, and this is where we published our papers saying that it was primary, and we thought it was primarily to do with ACE2. But that's separate. That's a bit more detailed science. Here I'm talking just about the principle of autoimmunity. All it is that the body's immune system, which is the defense system of the body, recognizes a normal protein as being foreign. So it's kind of like what you could have here. This is a soldier. It's night. It's foggy. Is he a friend or a foe? So the soldier looking at that soldier is not sure if he's one of his own or if he's an enemy. If he then targets that soldier and that soldier is on his side, that could be considered equivalent to autoimmunity. This has happened in the context of tank fire a number of years ago, where some U.S. troops in the night they were firing. This was in Iraq, and they were firing at what they thought was the enemy. So this here would have been the tank firing in this situation here would have been the friend. It was targeting another tank that they thought was the enemy, and it was simply because it was also being targeted and bombs were exploding around it. And they fired on these tanks, which were their own. That's, as simply as I can put it, the idea about autoimmunity. So, just to make it clear, it's just about the immune system in the body recognizing a normal protein as being foreign and attacking it. And that's very similar to what I think we're seeing in the context of Israel and Palestine, and actually in almost all conflicts between Ukraine and Russia in the past, in the world wars, because we don't recognize that we are all part of the same team, even though we may come from different backgrounds, even though we may have different beliefs. We are actually all on the same side, trying to make a better world. When we target each other, that in my mind is like autoimmunity. And this is what happened in the context of the cytokine storm. And this is where I tie the science to the relevance of current day. So the virus infects the cell. So this here is the lung. If take a section of that lung to show a bronchiole going into alveoli, this is where the air exchange occurs. And then this is a picture of the alveoli. So oxygen, it comes from the alveoli into the red blood cells, and the red blood cells release carbon dioxide. And that's just how your lung works all the time. In the context of COVID 19, the virus, this virus, because it's able to evade interferon, gets down into the lungs without a warning. And so when it hits the lungs, in some people, it then causes a very strong immune response, which can then block blood vessels in the lungs, microthrombi, the person can't breathe. And if that cytokine storm continues to escalate, that could lead to the death of the whole body. And that's the principle that we all need to reflect on this day. That in reality, even though the incidents are happening not in your backyard, if this becomes like a cytokine storm, where the escalation of conflict continues, it could destroy the whole body, which means all of us. What do we need to do? We as a people must make sure that we push our leaders to try and dampen down that immune response from what has just happened. Because if we're not careful and this becomes like a cytokine storm in the context of severe COVID-19, if the lungs are destroyed, the whole body dies. If the heart is destroyed, the whole body dies. If the kidneys are destroyed, the whole body dies. We need to find solutions. And just as we should have found more solutions around the COVID-19 autoimmunity, if we had just been a little bit more open, we would probably have recognized that just good, adequate doses of steroids could have probably made the most difference to death across the world. Let us not make the same mistakes again with regards to the politics that is happening across the world. We need to find ways to dampen down the conflict before it becomes a cytokine storm that could destroy all of us. That is my reflection for today. I hope you found that information valuable. Have a great evening.